numerically and looking at the pitches, he looks great. What do you do with somebody like that?
That's, you want to take the production into account, especially at the level that he's at. So like when you start getting into like the higher minors, when you start to get into AAA, AA, you start taking production into account. The problem with Edwards is that he's already had a couple of shoulder issues. Speaking about Edwards specifically, then I'll address your question. He's already had a couple of shoulder issues, and it's just, he doesn't hold his stuff well deep into games. So when it's a pitcher, I'm not, yes, I don't try not to show him boxes as much as I can. Because it's, there are body archetypes for a reason, right? But you have to be open to letting it get some pride. So, when your guy in Ventura shows up, he's 100 miles an hour, and he's holding himself well. I mean, the odds are still against him pretty well, but you kind of have to take what he's doing and keep it in mind. So, it's all about how he holds his stuff. Is he, when he's working deep into games, is he losing 5 miles an hour, or is he pretty much steady to where his velo range is? Is the breaking ball still sharp?
No, I just need to put the computer up.
That's what I look for, especially in hitters. And hitters, it's all about the lower half, right? If he's got a thick lower half and it's just like a skinny torso that angles in like that, he's going to grow. And that's going to be a guy who fills out pretty well. He's going to have a lot of pace. Yeah.
So you watch the players from behind home plate from different sides, from the back. Do you ever actually talk to the players that you're scouting to like figure out, yeah, this guy we should stay away from this case?
Yeah, this is something that Mike Farron was pretty big on, who works at the XM. He did some sort of baseball prospectus as well. We were sitting all around the Arizona Fall League. We were just sitting in the back as the players were taking warm-ups. And you just see Farron just talking to everybody. And like some of the other guys were just like, what's he doing? And then he comes back and he just has like his full makeup. So it's like, you have to be careful because sometimes like it's like what Ozzy was talking about. Like these guys don't have the best command of the English language. So like you get like these really bad one-word answers and that's that kind of thing. But I talk to guys as much as I can and just try to get a feel for like, what they're doing. If they're thinking about the game all that much, what's going on with the person.
So do you like analyzing the players? Do you look at the demeanor of them? Jim was only used to say that sometimes you saw kids in the minor league system, the Braves, they have great stuff, but they just doubted themselves, they look comfortable around. If they, a lot of these other players, they might say, I'm going to throw this because I've been doing this 3 years ago, but I'm not doing it now. But I think demeanor a lot. I mean, we all the Tour fans saw Manny Parra. Manny Parra would be on the mound looking like he wanted to kill himself. By the time you say, walk the batter or start crying, but he had great stuff. I mean, his mechanics were great. And so how much of when you see a pitcher out there, you see the production, but you look at his demeanor, and how he handles himself when he gets a couple runners on or when he's just cruising. I mean, does that come into play?
It comes into play, and it's not just for pitchers either. I think it's a very, very fine line that you have to walk, right? I mean, let's take 2 examples. Let's take name the whole shot. Let's take Kyle Schwarber. Vogelbach's a guy who's got some check marks against him because he cheats himself up in the box sometimes. Some people don't necessarily like that. He's a guy who really gets down on himself. He drops a couple of reasons he's going to strike out. People are just like, well, we're not sure if he's going to realize his full potential because he gets really hard on himself and tries to overwork the record. And then Kyle Schwarber, he's a guy who's really hard on himself, but he works really hard. So he's always constantly trying to improve himself and trying to improve his full potential is. And that's why I think the Cubs are trying to give him as best a shot as they can to let him stay as the catcher because he's willing to put in the work. So it's like the line is so fine between falling to one side or the other side. Some guys who have bad demeanor on the mound are just guys who really care. And then other guys who have bad demeanor on the mound are guys who just aren't going to be able to deal with adversity when it happens. So slumped shoulders, like yelling into the glove, it's all cliche, and I think it does get overused in baseball broadcast quite a bit. But that doesn't mean that it's not important, and it doesn't mean that it's something that we
just their character. We just their character.
Right. And when you try harder at baseball, you tend to be worse. Like when you're pressing and when you're because you want to be relaxed.
Who's the guy that surprised you the most? Like, you scouted his ass, and then you just hanged out pretty well.
In recent memory, it's Albert Elmora. That's a guy that I think that at the minor league level I wasn't too impressed with him. You know, especially in high school. I didn't really like him all that much, but he ended up shooting Jorge Soler. That's definitely the kind of going back to the bigger question that you were talking about. Soler is a guy that he had a lot of questions about his makeup because he was kind of dogging it in the Arizona Fall League, and he wasn't running out the ground balls. He wasn't running it out full maximum potential. He's a dude who's always hurt. So he earned kind of the reputation kind of as a dog. But as it turned out, he was nursing an injury in the Arizona Fall League, and the Cubs knew that, and they kind of told him to take it easy. So the perception of him kind of changed, and especially from my point of view. When he came up and he enjoyed the initial success, I mean, granted, a lot of it was just picking out high fastballs that stopped very quick. He ended up panning out a lot better than I thought he would.
Do you think Schwarber will be a major league catcher?
He's willing to work very hard at it. I still don't see it though. Like I think the best possible scenario for him is going to be an Evan Gattis type profile, where he's catching, maybe 30, 40 games a year and plays primarily in the outfield. Maybe he's going to help you out once in a while. Maybe he's somebody personal catcher kid. But that dude's a really hard worker. Seeing him early versus seeing him play, I could really see the effects of him just like really pounding it. It was just like, wow. It ended up being a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Cool. Any more questions?
Yep. Do you get a Paxton at all? T-Rex?
Every once in a while, they're kind of fun.
Well, there's something operationally different between King County and Appleton that you can see at all. Basically, our Cubs doing it better than
I think a lot of it has to do with the level of player that the Cubs are getting versus the level of player that the Brewers are getting. I think, we were talking about this a little bit internally when we were creating the Brewers list. I think this recent draft, the Brewers got a little bit cute with their draft. They took Monte Harrison, who's not a big fan of. They also took Cody Maderos, who I'm also not a big fan of. They overdid it. And I think that the level of player that you get, the amount of scouting that you do, is going to make the farm better. So like when you think about the pedigree of play that the Cubs end up getting, their farm system is better because they just get better talent. So it's not to completely write off what the Cubs are doing at the minor league level. Like development matters a lot. Right. Whereas the Brewers are like still trying to go for it and still trying to win. So, different techniques. Cool. Yeah.
Any programs as far as, at the single A level, as far as what I was talking about, the big league level in terms of English language instruction or any foreign language for the players?
Actually, I think you said the White Sox are starting to do that. So the White Sox I'm aware of that. The Cubs are starting to do it a little bit, but I haven't really seen it in terms of like the other teams coming through all that often. I think, I think Tony Park proposed that recently, to the mayor, to the Players Association, about getting an immersion program started for recent foreign players and recent Hispanic players, and just kind of getting them immersed in the culture here. So, all right. Thank you so much.